Welcome to Clause 8. You're watching a short clip from one of our full episodes, featuring real conversations with the leaders shaping IP.
I was fortunate to attend VIA's Bridge Summit in San Francisco last year. And one of my takeaways is that you do see some of the implementers who, might not be so positive about patents elsewhere, but at your Bridge Summit, they seem to kind of understand what it's about and be kind of positive participants and trying to learn about the ecosystem. But I want to talk about some of those other activities. I guess they might be engaged with. One of them, obviously, is the AV1 standard, which is the video standard, which was set up by some of the big tech companies. So I'm assuming they wouldn't have to license some of these other standards through patent pools. What is your thought about that? It's been in existence for a few years, but what do you think about that? Are you concerned that that might be a model they emulate in other areas?
Right. So I think the AO media model, you mean for AV1 in terms of the whole royalty-free, licensing structure. I mean, that's a path you can certainly take. But I think the current administration, right, has just reiterated that just because something is royalty-free doesn't mean there's no anti-competitive effects, right? And in some cases, when you think about it, if you have large, implementers coming together and mandating anyone who participates into this arguably standardization process contribute their patents on royalty-free terms, that actually does even heighten the level of scrutiny that I think the government is now looking at, and particularly the current administration and the current DOJ, into whether these are actually competitive or not. So I think they're going to have their own struggles to deal with. I think I understand the rationale. I mean, everyone at the end of the day wants to avoid paying out money. But I think as you've seen with a lot of these technologies, there are other patent holders that are not going to be actively contributing, and that even if you do try to mandate and dictate a royalty-free kind of obligation on all the active participants, you're still not doing what their goal is, which I think was to create a complete royalty-free solution. And unfortunately, I think in today's modern world, technology is increasingly complex. So any modern technology is going to be building upon decades and decades of prior innovation from countless numbers of would-be licensors. So to think that you can just go in and kind of create a brand new technology that's competitive with the current marketplace without stepping on someone else's technology is a little bit naive in a way. So I understand that, why they may have done things like that. Like I said, I think they have their own kind of anti-competitive, issues that they need to, work through. So we don't see them kind of as a direct threat, because there's always a need, like I said, for patent pools, for people who want to license their technology on FRAND principles. And it's really just about that cycle of innovation, right? You get that cycle of innovation when you properly reward innovators. When you don't properly reward innovators and they try to take shortcuts, then you can end up with things, potentially like AV1, where they may argue that it's supposed to be royalty-free, but at the end of the day, it really doesn't turn out to be royalty-free. So I think there's a lot to kind of digest there, but I think the current DOJ and the administration, in terms of how they're closely scrutinizing some of these mandatory royalty-free, pool type structures, it's certainly something that they're going to have to kick the tires on and really figure out kind of where they land there. But I don't see it as directly impacting the work that we do here, at VIA. And as you can see, others have already created pools around some of these codecs that arguably were royalty-free.